Hello, today I'm gonna read this book that's called Goldy Super Hamster. And I'm gonna read to chapter 5. I'm gonna read to chapter 5, okay? So I'm gonna read to chapter 5 and then I'm gonna read the whole new the book, this book all next time. So it's gonna be two parts of this book, okay? But now I'm gonna read. My new beginning. My first text message to the boy read that was before I learned about commas or full stops or capital letters. Still, I wasn't bad, was it? Not for a hamster. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Goldy. I am 30 centimeters long. I have a band of white around my middle, but I am mostly golden. My tail is rather short, but Ludo says I have ears like tulips and a beautiful nose. He also says I am genius. I was born in a laboratory with 3 brothers and 4 sisters. They were taken away before I got to know them, and then I was given a cage to myself, one of a long row. Professor Seedley was my friend. He kept my cage clean, changed my straw, and filled my water bottle. He was especially keen to know how different kind of food changed my behavior. So I had plenty to eat. He could sit and study me for hours. He watched me run on my whiz wheel. He was interested in the way I made my nest with different materials. He gave me seeds and vegetables and watched I carried on as before. He tried me on insects. I liked them but didn't do anything useful. He watched what I did after eating dried cat food. There was no difference. Finally, he made this special mixture for me. I'm not sure what was in it. At first, I didn't like the taste of it or the smell of oily fish, but I got used to it and then I grew to love it. I filled my chick pouches to brushing and stuffed so much more into my nest that there was hardly room for me. And while it changed me, the special mixture made me feel strong and full of energy. More than that, I made me feel brainy. I started thinking and having clever ideas about the sorts of things. I began to whiz faster and faster on my wheel and try out things with my toys. Soon I could do backwards flips and balance a cotton reel on my nose for ages. That got Professor Seedley very excited. He ran to bring other white goats to see me. A flock of them arrived holding shiny pads. I didn't know then what these pads were, but I thought, whoa, careful, Goldy. I think if you show these humans how clever you are, you could be in this cage for the rest of your life. You see, I had already decided I would like to leave my cage and explore the outside. So when the white goats crawled around my cage, I didn't do anything clever. I did a bit of climbing, a bit of wheel work. I ate, I drank, and I tied my nest. I just did the normal hamster things, nothing special too. Building up my brain power, my plan worked. The white coats were disappointed and went away. Excellent. Now I was able to begin my close study of Professor Seedley. The main thing I noticed was that, like me, he had very regular habits. When I came out of my nest, he could sit beside me with his shiny pad. When I went to bed, he went away. I studied the way he tapped the keys on his pad, and I worked out that somehow he was storing my life in there, in the same way as I sorted food in my nest. I could also see that when he lifted the pad up, he could capture moving pictures of me. I knew he was trying to record me doing something exaltedly, but I wouldn't let him. For most of the time I did nothing except bustle back and shoot things that I know I had to keep him interested for a while. So sometimes when his fingers were busily tapping away on the pad, I could do something to amaze him. For example, I might make a pyramid of sunflower seeds again. I might spit nuts into the air, one at one time, and Bickle kicked them into my foot tray. That got his attention. He made a little sound. His eyes grew very big, and he quickly pressed the pad to his face. By then I was in my nest. Ha ha, I say to myself, too slow, Professor. Of course he was that stupid. When he saw me spinning round on my head like a break dancer, he moved his arm very, very slowly and tried to capture some pictures of me in a sneaky way. Zip back in my knees, I popped. He missed me again. When he tried to outsmart me by changing my food, I refused to do anything. I pretended I was ill and lay in the corner of the cage, painting and twisting. After that, he only ever fed me on special mixture. Gradely, Professor Seeley must have decided that his special mixture was no better than the regular hamster food at making me clever. At last, he lost interest in me and started studying the animals in the cages next to mine. Now that I had been in peace, could work on my plan to escape. It didn't take me long to work out how to open my door. I waited until there were no white coats about. Sleepy the catch and set off to explore the laboratory. I was dying to find out how the shiny pads worked, and there were plenty of them lying about for me to get my paws on. The first time I used one, I was dreadfully nervous. The pad I was examining suddenly went ping. It gave me such a fright that I scooped back to my cage and hid in my nest. All of a tremble. Still, I had to my first smell of the outside that gave me a cortex. I needed to leave my safe little home and explore new places. Every time I went out, I rumbled my nose against the side. Glad I had on my hips and left my mark somewhere in the laboratory. That way I made a detailed smell map of it and came to know exactly which path to follow to reach where I wanted to be. Also, I pressed harder and harder at using a pad. The effort of dancing on the keys in the right order gave me keys in the right order gave me a headache, but I kept at it. I thought at it and taught myself typing and texting. Came the shock. Then came the shock. One day, without warning, Professor Seedley threw a cloth over my cage, picked it up and carried me on a long, bumpy journey. All those loud noises, all those strange new smells. I was terrifying but also thrilling. When the cloud came off, I found myself blinded by daylight this way new to me, so I tried to hide in my nest. A warm hand reached into my cage and stopped me. I was lifted up and found myself gazing into the face of a small human. He was not a white coat. He had striped teeth and a round face with dark fur coming down straight above his brown gray eyes. He carried some words on his chest. I felt his breath on me, warm and welcoming, and at once I knew I found a friend. Wait, I'm just gonna look something. Okay. 3. A new home. Professor Seedley had a mate called Mammy. Sometimes they called my friend Boy or Sunshine, and sometimes Ludo. I liked the name Ludo best. It didn't take long to find out that Ludo and I had a great deal in common. To Professor Seedley and Mammy. Ludo just... wait. I'm just gonna fix this. I'm just gonna fix my hat, okay? Ludo, I like the name Ludo best. I didn't take long to find out that Ludo and I had a great deal in common. To Professor Seedley and Mammy. Ludo was not just an infant, he was their pet just as I was his. Our job was to please the owners and make them feel good. Ludo and I both lived in a cage too. His was much bigger. We were both well fed and giving things to the X-rays. I had my plastic tunnels with cotton reels and my whiz wheel. Ludo had only a strange machine called a volume that he tucked under his chin, and that was about all he had to keep him busy. Every morning Professor Seedley could leave to go to the laboratory. Then Mammy would sit at her piano and watch Ludo closely, tapping her foot. Before I understood what it was, I thought that the piano was a huge black beatstick with terrible teeth. She could make it roar and thunder while Ludo scrapped his machine with a stick and waggled his body about at the same time. Sometimes Ludo's machine made a beautiful noise like hundreds of whiz wheels squeaking different notes. Sometimes Ludo could make the machine patter like rain or whistle like a bird. Sometimes it would laugh, but mostly it cried. When Professor Seedley came home, he would sit down at a table with Mammy and Ludo and have a fight about food. Ludo would only ever eat a little of what was on his dish. Then he could make some angry sounds and push it away. I soon came to understand what these sounds were. They were words and they meant, why can't I have a hamburger sometimes, like normal ordinary children? Professor Seedley's answer was, because you are not normal or ordinary. You have a first-rate brain. If you stay home and do what Mammy and I tell you, you will soon be able to play the volume better than any other child in the world. It is my job to study how food helps the brain, and Mammy's job to make sure you to your volume practice. And as I keep telling you, hamburgers are second-rate food for second-rate children. What else did you have in common? Well, Ludo and I had no friends except each other and thought I didn't know it at first. We shared the same dream. We both wanted to be free and to explore the outside. Luckily for us, we both happened to be genius. Even after only a few days living with Ludo, I quickly understood that when Mammy stamped her foot and fooled her arms across her chest. She was angry. I also learned that slamming a door can mean no. I can also mean leave me alone every new day. The noise Ludo made on his smashing sounds more and more horrible. Mammy made him keep scrapping over and over. Suddenly Ludo screamed. He threw down his machine and broke his stick. Mammy sent him to his nest. He cried and cried. I knew it was time for me to send him a message to remind him that he wasn't alone, that there was a problem, thought the cat. Wait. I'm just gonna look something. Should I read chapter 4? Should I also read chapter 4?
Mana ni?
Chat?
Ato ni?
I think I can. I don't know.
You can.
I think I can, but I think I not can. I don't know what I'm gonna choose. I'm gonna read it, but I'm gonna drink water. 4. A near miss. On my very first day in my new home, the cat leaped up and clicked his terrible claws along the bars of my cage. I can't tell you what a shock it was to see a savage thief up close when he hissed and yelled at me. I thought I would die. Ludo came running to save me with a purring yell and got a nasty bit for his trouble. He scooted me and promised me that the cat would be kicked out of the living room. From then on, nevertheless, it took quite a while for me to pluck up the curtain to slip the cat and risk a runabout with no bars to keep me safe. Even in my dreams, I could still smell the bloodlust of that furry monster. Meanwhile, I had noted that humans have many pouches they call pockets, and that Professor Seedley always emptied his on the living room table before he went off to his nest to sleep. The most interesting items he set down, for strangely there was no sign of food. There were tea sets and the phone I considered taking toys to use as the soft nesting material, but I did not want him to discover that I had been out of my cage. I considered instead of studying how the phone worked, since it was small and lighter than the pads of the laboratory. I found I could manage it more easily, and after a few nights' practice, I found I could, as you say, surf the net. I tried typing outside and found myself looking at pictures of Spot's clothing that made no sense to me. I had better luck than animals until I learned the secrets of the internet. I had no idea how many different kinds of us there are. I spent hours scrolling through to gaze at them. I was so caught up in the wonder of it that I didn't hear the door to the living room switch open or the pad of cat paws on the wooden floor. I was only thanks to my keen sense of smell that I am alive to tell a whiff of fishy breath made me look up, and suddenly there they were, two evil yellow-green eyes glowing in the dark. How I found the strength to swing the phone and smack the cat on the nose, I shall never know, but that gave me the seconds I needed to set my paws flying over the keys. Quick, volume on. Hit the keys, put in big dog bark paws over theirs and hang on for dear life. Yer, woof, woof, raff, raff, yer, woof, woof. door flew open all around, lights flashed on, but not before I threw myself down in front of the open door of my case and did a brilliant impression of having a heart attack. Needless to say, that was the last time I saw the practical cat. That was all for this part. And I'm at chapter 5. I'm gonna read the whole book next time. And bye bye.